Yeah. Red button's hit. You guys know how we do it. We just, do we? Well, kind of. It's been a while. But yeah, we just chat about life here on this pod. And you guys have been living recently. We're currently, for viewers and listeners' sakes, we are at the pool of the Dusit Hotel in Doha, Qatar. When you guys started your season in Recife, now you're ending it at the Beach Pro Tour Finals. That's a hell of a climb. Are you surprised that this is how you're finishing your season at all?
Yeah, when we started, I was doing my finals exams, so I had a really rough winter where didn't train, didn't go to the gym. I was just eating, stress eating. I was really
Changed though.
Really changed. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. We go to the gym, people would know us for that. But now we're in the best shape we've ever been there. We've been non-stop playing the whole year.
Yeah.
We've only had literally 5-day break after SPU. That's the only break we've had this season.
Really? That's a long season. It's funny because, like, you look at all these teams, and it's funny because the finals, it should be when everyone's in top form. And I feel like it's teams just, like, dragging their way through it because everyone's so battered down, or it's teams, like, super rusty who have taken 4 months off since the Olympics. And you guys look 100%.
Well, I notice a lot of the top teams take a lot of time off. Like, of course, a lot of them play tournaments where they get really deep into the tournament and then they play a lot of matches and it's fatiguing and stuff. But I feel like a lot of the top teams just have a month off without training, and I don't want to name any names or whatever, but it just feels like they don't train as much when they get to this level.
Right.
Almost like there's an inverse relationship, right? The higher level you go, the less they're training. Is that possible? But for us, like, we do what we do and what works for us, what feels good, and we don't want to stop because we struggle to get back in if we stop even for just 1 week. Like,
Yeah.
So
I wonder, I think it might be an age thing too.
Yeah, that was my next question.
Yeah, because I was talking with Perisic about it, and they make no bones about it. They've been training for 2 weeks to get ready, and I said, I thought you guys looked pretty good. Like, I wouldn't have known that you took 3.5 months off. I would have known you took some time off, but I wouldn't have thought,
we've been training with that every morning.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks is a bit of a stretch, though. Still, I don't spend West.
bit of an exaggeration from Andre. But he said, yeah, I'm surprised that it came back. He goes, maybe it's just a sign of my age, that you just don't need that many reps to come back, because you guys are what,
24.
24? Okay. So I think
Young legs, young arms over here.
you're still bulletproof.
In 10 years, which a lot of these teams are close to the 30s, I'd say maybe the training regimen does change once the body gets a little bit older. I know as an older player that the days needed to compete compared to me or Tim in practice was a little bit different. Our coach was like, too much for you, more for Tim, but less for you.
Yeah. I think it's been just mainly due to our circumstances. We don't have the best. We haven't had the best training conditions, like at home, and especially in the winter. Now it's really cold, so we've always tried to play tournaments. So this is the only way for us to improve and keep in shape, because we hadn't had a chance to do this training camp. So that's something we're gonna try to change this year. We're gonna be more time in Malaga and more time doing training and being more like the rest of those teams that kind of focusing on those Elite 16 competitions and being more selective.
Yeah. It's pretty cool that you guys are in a position where you can focus on Elite to be more selective. Like, that's awesome, because I feel like teams there's like such a contrast. Teams who are straight into Elites, they didn't have that much to play this year. Like, Anders and Christian, I think, played 8 tournaments all year, and then you look at Arthur and Evandro, and they're on tournament like 14. Where if you're in that challenge, Elite, sort of top of challenge, lower Elite, you kind of have to fight to stay in the points because you take an event off and you're getting passed during the qualifier.
Yeah.
And then you have a bad qualifier, and now you're back mid-level challenge. It's nice that you have the choice that you can be kind of selective.
Yeah, I think for us, we're somewhere in the middle. Like, we want to be selective and we want to play only the best events, but we also want to play as much as possible. Right. And one of the issues is also the planning. Like, we don't care if we go and only play challenges for a year, right?
Yeah.
But we need to know in advance, like a few months in advance, what tournaments are going to play. And the nature of beach volleyball and with the entry ranking and all these things would make it so difficult. You say, what are we doing this year? Like, that's why we had a kind of...
Don't get me started on the entry ranking.
Yeah. I kind of want to get you stuck. It's difficult with this format and this entry ranking system where everything is changing so quickly, especially for teams like us that we, like you were saying, main draw challenge / quali and elite.
Right.
The only way we could ever go direct to a main draw and elite is to do what we did in Rio, is to go from the quali, get really deep, right, and then get loads of points in that one event, and then kind of...
Right. Well, I'll get myself started on the entry point system. It's stupid. It's a really bad system because it incentivizes teams not to play. Yeah. And I talk about this with Theo all the time, because they got that 4th at World Champs in 2023, and then they were strategically trying to save that finish. I think any system where you have an incentive not to play needs a tweak. And I'm curious, I ask players all the time, like, what do you think is the optimal system? I actually really like the way they do the world ranking. It's just your best 8 finishes in the last 360. I don't know what the problem is. It's easy to understand. It's right there on the website, but what's funny is that the world ranking isn't ever used.
Well, we actually had a call with some players about this, and we said the same thing. We said we should have just one unified ranking that everybody understands, that's super simple, and that everybody looks at. You can find it, and that's it. Very easy. And maybe the only thing that people would say is that the entry ranking is helping to promote and relegate teams quickly, right? Right. But one way you could do that is by changing the distribution of the points. So if you look at the points table, what you get for each position in each tournament, if you change that distribution and make it more skewed towards the top, a bit like tennis. Yeah. You guys know more or less, like, we just give loads of points if you get pretty high. Okay. Like, for example, it could be like 10,000 points if you win a Grand Slam, and then like if you allow the final where you get last, you get like 100. Like the super steep progression. So don't ever drop a finish. So that means that even if you're counting 8 results over 365 days, right, which is a long time and a lot of results, one result can still
catch you.
You know,
liar.
Exactly.
The biggest fear is that what we're going to benefit from now is that we have these elites and we're able to just stay there and plan a season as long as we manage to get out of the pools and not do anything stupid.
Yeah. So I'll give you an example, right? The young boys try to promote in Swedish is 2 challenge events from the qualifier, right? In an ideal points distribution, that would have given them so many points that they would be easily in a direct main goal, right? Even in an 8 tournament world ranking kind of, that would be an ideal scenario where somebody can do that and you're out. Yeah, like in tennis. Yeah, I think tennis is the most successful sport as a world tour, and it's very established and it's very stable, right, in terms of viewership, fans, like longevity, like it's great. Like there's a lot from tennis that we can learn. Of course, we're different and everything, but in terms of ranking, it's solid, man. And we need to what they do, right?
It would involve the FIB actually valuing the challenge tour and actually making it good as well. Because if you're gonna award those points, so people can move up and down. Yeah, you need to. There's a good competition.
I understand, like you said, the 3 out of 4. I get why, because it makes dropping and rising a lot easier. With the Elite 16s, if it's just the same field over and over and over again, it gets a little stale, especially if there's not an Olympic race on the line. Where I think once the Olympic field was set and there were elites, I was like, this isn't that compelling. Where I thought the challenges were actually way more interesting because a lot more moves could be made. Yeah. But then I think a system that's easy to follow, and I was talking with Kristen last night, I was like, man, as a beach volleyball fan, now that we have this challenge format that I can't make heads or tails of, is to understand, like, I can't explain to our trainer what technical points are versus entry points are, why challenges are the way they are versus why elites the way they are, but then sets and points ratio matter in elites, only points matter in challenges. I'm like, I can't.
I mean, there's a lot of stakeholders, right? And I think for a while, the Volleyball World was looking at the cost of the tournament and for promoters and the number of courts and things like that. Right. At the same time, like I said, simplicity for the fans needs to be a priority right now. Like, it's really difficult to create a following for the sport. Like, even for me, like my friends, my family, people that like following us, like it's hard for me to explain to them why we went direct into semis in the challenge in Philippines, right? Let alone somebody that doesn't know us, that I can't explain it to on the phone for 20 minutes. So
how was it explained to you guys? Because we had this commentating group chat, and we were trying to figure out why some teams made it straight into semis going to 3, but one team who had a sweep was in the round of 6. And we didn't...
20 feels an odd number. So you have 6 winners, and you have to bring that down to 4. So the only way to do that is to just take those 6 and
so it's just straight up points. It's points now.
So no, it's plus ratio, but only the winners of the group
Yeah.
Only the winners of the group.
Well, if you lose a group, you lost at least 2 sets, so you're automatically
Right.
kind of yeah. So for me,
But I mean, to get straight into the semis.
yeah.
Okay.
Set ratio, and then points ratio.
And then
So we didn't drop a set in the Valley. It was 3 games.
And the other team that didn't do that was Valla and Hammerberg, so that's why they also went directly.
Got it. And so is it an overall, like your
Yes.
total
Of all the games you play,
all the games?
even
not
if
just your
even if you've lost the one pool game,
right.
you're still into that calculation.
Got it.
See,
Okay.
there's a possibility that you lose a pool and you still kind of, but it's rare. But
You got it. Okay.
yeah. See, it's confusing. Arctic confusing. Yeah.
But 2 straight medals. Pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I want to go back to Rio, and me and Kyle were talking about this on our coffee walk, and we put this up on Instagram. But what a difference one match changed in your whole season. Because that first round qualifier match in Rio, you guys go to 3 with Cam and James. No one played great in that match, and I think you guys would admit it as well. But you guys sort of survive, and it's kind of a coin flip of a third set, and then you go on and win the whole tournament. And that one match, that one tournament, now you're here in the Beach Pro Tour finals competing for 150 grand.
I mean, not every match is it like both teams playing at their best and like showing everything and starting out at a really high level and feeling great. Sometimes the matches get ugly. Like we had a little bit of that yesterday with the Vandro, right? Like sometimes the match is just no one is doing them best quality hits or it's a bit of a struggle. And that's winning those matches. It's just as important maybe as winning those other matches that we won playing, head to head and more Sorum in the semi-final. Like that, great. But actually that match against Cam and James, we also had to pull that out somehow.
Right.
And winning ugly and all that stuff. I think it's important.
I think it's more impressive.
Pull out a
win. I think it's a more impressive skill when you can win when your best isn't available. Anyone can win when they're playing at 100%, but I think what happens when you're jet lagged, food's not right, 65%, the gym, it's not great. Like those are that's more common that you're gonna have those conditions. I think it's an impressive skill to have.
And I would say also injuries. A lot of players are carrying for a while I had a bit of knee pain and things like this, or the jet lag, the food. There's so many factors involved that some days you just don't feel great. People that are watching maybe don't know that, but pulling out a win like that and when you're feeling not at your best is really difficult. And a lot of these top teams are very good at doing that, right?
Yeah.
So
and you have to be.
Yeah, something definitely I talk about on air is like reminder to the fans that these players are traveling nonstop. They're not eating the best at times. They're doing laundry in the tub on the road, and the bodies are beat up. And so it's like, again, credit to you guys. And in those qualifier games, yeah, there maybe not that many fans watching because, for them, they're not there. But for you guys, those are like so intense, And I guess for you guys, is there any sort of different preparation when you go into some of those games when you're not feeling your best? So you're like, hey, we'll do what we can. Say, is there like a conversation?
The first thing is that the intensity, they're way more intense than the main row. Kind of when we're in the main row, especially in the Elite 16, like sometimes I'm just like, I actually don't care if I lose this game. Like it's actually okay. It's okay. Like just so in the qualifier, I'm always thinking, just try to relax. Like it's not the end of the world. It is the end of the world. Sorry, it is the end of the world. There we lose the money, right? In the main row, don't. So I'm always just trying to think about that. Just bring the heart rate down.
I think also for us when we're in those difficult matches or in a qualifier and stuff like that, we kind of like try to say to each other, let's stay together. We have like a part of our identity is like we don't give up. We support each other when one of us is not siding out or struggling with for some reason serving. For example, sometimes we have bad serving matches and when we have to stay together. And it's kind of like we talk about that a lot and our dad as well is very he's always pushing that. So that even when we're losing, we're still like hugging each other at a point, and we lose a point and I'm like tapping him on the shoulder, and that physical contact, that feeling, and that I think that's a big part of our game, and it makes us play better. So yeah.
I think it's a great mindset to have to be able to say, hey, this game, to drop some of those expectations, because I think those are what kills us when you go into games is like, we should beat this team. We're a better team. For you guys, you think that there was a moment this year that you guys saw a big emotional growth? Because I feel like watching you guys over this year, I feel like there's a bit more maturity. There's this calmness and level focus from you guys. Is there one moment that was like, okay, like that felt good, or maybe it was a loss, maybe it was a win that helped us like, hey, we're on the same page?
We lost a lot of qualifiers, at least 16 qualifiers this year. And those were tough because
Those are
We lost a lot of money. Yeah.
First half of the year, we learned a lot. Second half, we tried to put that into practice, right? I think in general, we're making way less errors in general, right? We're a team that's not giving away matches for free now, and people have to score. They have to push the serve on us because we're siding out or at least putting the ball in play, covering. We used to be a team that made more errors than we do now. And then also the sticking together thing that I mentioned, like we don't fight each other as much. We're much more united on the court and kind of like complementing each other, right? The way he covers me, right, and the way I don't know what I did for him, but support him. It's important, and I think we've definitely changed. Yeah, and it feels different on the court. Like we feel like we belong, and any match we can win. So yeah.
I think we figured out our serving game much better than at the beginning of the season. I think now we're really moving the opponents and making them work hard.
A bit more variety on the serve. We used to be a team that would be like, okay, let's serve this guy and just serve this guy with a very honest cross-court serve. The guy. So against someone like Amon Helvig, that's sort of an amazing side-out offense, and they're going to find all kinds of things. We can do that, right? That's one of the things that we've been doing now is creating variety, serving from different places to different places, and then not knowing what we're going to do with the serve.
My dad makes a serve from literally a different meter of the court. Each 1, 2, 3, 4, baseline, 7, whole baseline.
Yeah.
That's weird. If you watch our games, I mean, I don't think maybe once a set I do the same serve I already did, but I'm always trying to serve from a different place to a different place.
Yeah, I mean your serve has gotten more consistent, I would say, which I feel like you'd be the first to say that it was a little inconsistent.
I'm known for having a really bad serve. This is true.
Not my words. Oh, great! It was okay. Not your best soul, and so you've adapted, you've adjusted, you've improved. Is there something besides the movement? Is there something in your approach or in your attack of the serve that has changed slightly?
So I realized that I'm not very good at contacting the ball. So it's sort of focus on that.
Finals, baby, the finals.
No, it's true. You can see I'm always backspinning it.
Yeah, spin-offs.
I'm focusing a lot more on precision. I'm putting it where I want because I actually have a lot of control, but it's just spinning. So I can literally aim like 4 meters, 5 meters. Like I can literally put it like exactly where I want it, and that works.
That works. Okay, so just a little bit of change of focus on the specific spot has helped a lot.
Stop trying to focus so much on the contact, because some days it'll be good, some days it'll be bad. But if it goes to the right place, it can already be a good serve.
It's already a good serve.
What's crazy though is because I called your match against Sweden, which was an epic one. You'll have these mishits when you're swinging that hit like the back line. I'm like, if you can do that on purpose every time, no one's touching that. A deep spat on the line, it's in defense.
Beginning, yeah. I mean, I was doing it on purpose, but
I was actually wondering because Sorum does.
Yeah,
he hits those float serve swings, and like after 6 years, it's not an accident.
No, I mean, hovering is a bit scary sometimes in the vlog because you don't know if it's gonna be there or not. So I was expecting them to be there and go top of the hands, but just in case, I'm not gonna hit it out, so I'm not trying to hit big slice. So that's it. Like it's
stood up the work, but there are two kinds of blockouts, right? There's the one where you're begging for the blockout, hitting the ball completely out, right, upwards into the hands, right? Yeah. And I think Amon was doing that a lot when the ball was tight. You just for the hands and just swing hard into it. And then there's the one that he was doing that's really effective as well, which is you hit to the extremities of the court high, right? And even if the block doesn't touch it, you're getting a good swing, and that's really difficult to defend. So
yeah, you mentioned that Helvig is a scary blocker, and I think that if you were to ask a player 8 years ago, hey, here's a 6'3" kid, he's really scary, they'd have been like, excuse me? Like you had Phil, you had Stoyanovsky, you had Semenov. Like Phil was maybe the 15th tallest player, but I feel like now blockers like you, Helvig, are starting to get a lot more common, where I haven't done the math, but I think that this is the smallest finals we've had in a decade. And I'm curious, like, what's it like being, you're not a 6'3" blocker. I was wrong. So what, 6'1"?
Close. Yeah, close.
6 foot, you jump. I mean, is he 80 inches out of the
I'm 184, so it's like, 6 foot and a half, or maybe 6'1", yeah.
But I feel like you guys are sort of the new model. Like you guys, Sweden, a lot of these smaller split blocking teams, that's kind of the new model, because as the game went bigger, you can't teach height. And so if you don't have height, then you just get more ball control and faster and you jump higher. And now like that's kind of the new mold.
I mean, the block, I think the block is so really high. Like, it's really, really high. And I think he's one of the best. Like, him and Moore are the two blockers that I watch the most.
Yeah.
And especially Anders, you can't really replicate that because he's got 20 centimeters.
Right. And he's like,
We did a meet.
he's a
Huge blunt. I can try to do that, but I can't really do that.
right.
But what Jonathan does is how well he hides and presses. It's insane. I think, and honestly, I watch him a lot, and I learn a lot from him.
Yeah. So what about you, Hav? Who you like watching?
I like watching best.
They watch.
No. I actually watch a lot of beach volleyball, but more for entertainment. Like not so much like what he does in terms of like learning from the other players, but I'm actually entertained by other players and the creativity that some players have. And so, like for example, now I'm seeing a lot of like Javier going up with the right hand and then going with the left hand this way, right? And seeing things that I could maybe like, apart from like a fun kind of point of view, rather like a technical like what do they do? Because I also feel that we're very unique. And it's very difficult to like look at the best teams in the world, and for other people watching and learning beach volleyball, like everybody kind of has their own way, and it's difficult to. You can get pieces out of someone else's game, like he does with the blocking, healthy, but you can't just like become them or try to be that, right? You have to find your own way, and I think that we've done that, quite well this year. Like we have our way, like the way we feel comfortable, the way we feel fluid in our game. So
It's cool to hear that you're that comfortable and confident in just being yourself. How long did it take you to kind of settle into like this is us? Because you're still young, you're 24, but I think it's cool that you're like we're confident. And I loved your interview in Rio where you were like Joaquin's the best blocker in the world, and you just said, hey, Javi's the best, people watch him, Javi's the best defender in the world. And I remember a time in Bulgaria where you guys weren't that fond of each other, and so I'm curious, like the brother dynamic, you guys developing that, and also just finding the confidence to say, you know what, this is who we are, and it's working out pretty well.
Honestly, I think Javier has always had that confidence. Like he's always saying like, oh, like he literally always said for years that I'm the best blocker in the world. Like literally like 3 years ago, he's already saying that.
Or I said things like, there's no reason why tomorrow when we go to play another qualifier and elite, we can't do what we can. Every single time we believed, every single time, right? It only happened.
That's that mentality that's like he really believes it. Like maybe delusional, but like it's.
I just thought there was no reason why it can't be, and I think it's for everyone. Like there's no reason why it can't be you. You know, in any field, not just be volleyball or anything like in life. Like there's no reason why it can't be you. If you put in the work, if you work really hard and you are focused and you channel your energy, your focus into something, there's no reason why it can't be you. And with Joaquin's talent, come on, I mean, everybody could see, I think even years ago, that there was something with him that was special in blocking and in athleticism, in natural talent of the game and reading.
I think we're very different in that sense, and I'm a lot more realist, and my confidence goes up and down depending on how we're doing. Right now it's quite high because he's doing well.
As it should be.
Yeah,
as it should be.
It hasn't always been the case.
But like, because I think that winning begets winning, and it's crazy what one tournament can do for your confidence. But I loved when we were just chatting after you guys were, I mean, you were cloud nine, and after you went in Rio, and you're like, I don't think we're any better than we were last week, and I don't think we're any worse than we were last week. That was like the most mature thing I've heard a 24-year-old say. And you're right. And like you said, like you guys could have won any Elite 16 for the last year. It just so happened you put all the pieces together at the right time.
Right.
And I think now the confidence you get from that just leads to more winning.
Yeah. I mean, I've been trying to make this guy believe, right? Because I also think that the dynamic that we're playing with now, where it's like you have the dominant block, a little bit like more Sorum, a little bit like Plavins and Fokero. So you have the defender that's kind of supporting, but the bulk of those big points are coming from Flocker, the serving, everything. Like when the blocker is taking over the game and I'm just supporting, that kind of dynamic is it's part of beach volleyball. Like I think the whole history of beach volleyball has been that way, right? Roger and Dahauser, even Emmanuel and Ricardo, like you have these blockers that are very physically dominant and they're scoring a lot of points, you know, and we're trying to increase that even more. Like I need to set this guy up on 2-1 and I need to give him more opportunity because he's the guy leading the charge. I take care of it. That's why I hit in the block sometimes so that he can then cover it and then
a little recycle. Well, if you haven't good served in a minute, go to Sheehan.
Well, if you look at the stats, a lot of my side out percentage coming from his swing. So if he's swinging for, but not like
I do decision wrong at that is the side out. I don't know. I'm quite good at that. Yeah.
he's really good in transition and what. So
Do you guys practice covering, or is that just something that is?
Yeah, but a lot less than you think. Like we
not specifically, I would say, not like we're not doing a drill like the Miles Evans where you have a board and you're just like covering.
Right.
But we try and we hold ourselves accountable to cover. Like if we hit a ball in the block and it falls down and we don't cover it, we all get really angry. It's like, and we look at each other like, how did you let that drop? Like you betrayed me. You know, that kind of. And we learned that from indoor volleyball, from the Cuban teams historically, the way they would cover, the way they would give up for the ball every single time, right? If somebody gets blocked and we watch Cuba indoor men's team, they look at the person that didn't cover like they just burn down their whole show, and
yeah,
really painful. And also a few years ago, I think 2019, like really early on, when we went to Tenerife, one of our first times, we saw Perisic Spina, the Czech guys, and they were training, they're doing their little triangle that everybody does, and they were doing a set, and then in the triangle, it was really hot as well, and they would go and like almost touch the coach, just catching the ball, not just like set and then, you know, relaxing the back. Yeah. And they kept doing that, and it was really hot, and I just thought, wow, that commitment.
That's like a core memory for us. Yeah,
I think that's a lot of for us, how important the cover was, especially for us that we play very normal up and down balls.
Yeah.
We're playing against a fully formed block most of the time.
Yeah.
We're going to get blocked. Like, but why can't we cover? Why can't that be something that we can...
Yeah. And I think it's not something you, like, it's just not technical, it's not practical, it's just effort. And really trying to, to not let the ball drop, yeah. Don't let the ball drop.
And if you have a very high and very fast reaction speed, like this guy, very quick, very agile, the number of balls that you can cover is insane. Yeah, like almost every single time that I get blocked, I'm expecting cover. And that's when
I'm calling on the mic, I expect everything to get covered.
Are you more afraid of your dad yelling at you for not covering, or one of you yelling at each other?
I think both. Our dad is more aggressive and like really means it. But we know that it's coming from like a coach point of view, and like he really cares and he wants us to cover, so we don't take it so personally. When we shout at each other, it's not as good because we feel a bit like of animosity between us. It's better when our dad is the one doing the shouting.
But it's a different way of looking at it. I think, for example, the Rasmus, the Swedish guys, if they hit into a block, for them it's like an error. Like he really hates when they hit into a block. Well, for us, it's like, I don't know, sometimes you can't avoid the block until it's there, and
it's there. So I mean, it's opportunity. Yeah, what I hear is like, oh, hitting the block, opportunity for us. And that's a totally different perspective, I think, because like you said, it's on the stat sheet. If you get blocked, that's an error. But like, does it necessarily go an error if it doesn't go down, right? You can still play that ball, then you get a chance to swing a transition, or you get an opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to do less swinging down into the ball, right? And getting kill blocked easily. We're trying to do more like smart swings, maybe not so much power, not so much, raw strength into the ball. We're trying to be more smart, and I think that leads to more coverable.
Because we play better when we're playing with the block. We're looking for the hands and hitting the extremities, rather than playing like the clean volleyball, which is like, oh, he's lying, let me bury the cross like steep as I can.
Right. There's edges on the block. Yeah, there to be used. You know, I think part of the game that's improved for you guys big time is the hand setting. From you, can you talk about that adjustment and how you were like, okay, I'm hand setting now, because you set beautifully.
Yeah, no. I mean, I've been hand setting for a lot of years now, and it's still quite dodgy at times. But I do it every day, every single set, and in training, it doesn't matter how high the ball is, how much it's spinning. I always hand set, and I mean, we have quite a lot of stories with Javier trying to hand set. But I think we put that.
Oh, I want to hear that.
We put that in the past. I think we're moving on, and we're moving on from that now, because we've been trying for many years, like for like months at a time, for him to hand set, and it's just never worked out. I think both for him and to me, even though he was a setter indoors, he's just never had the best touch, and I hit better when he bump sets. Maybe it's because he sent me my whole life. Thousands of times. And now I only know how to hit that. Actually, in training, sometimes we switch partners and I play with my little brother. And he's got the better assets. He's a score.
To see the most talented player ever. Like
jump sets, like the
jump set, and he's super confident, super tight. 20.
Okay, so we'll be seeing him pretty soon.
Hopefully, yeah. To find a good teammate or get a good partner, good opportunity. He could be, or maybe he plays with Joaquin up the few more years, give me a few more years, but probably for solid guy. There's no reason why he won't be better than me, and yeah, we'll be able to form a partnership.
But when he's saying me, I don't play that well. I don't know. I struggle to, even though the set is perfect. I was just like, I don't know.
It's a different time. It's right because you're at bump set. It's maybe 4 feet lower, and it's just that much more time to go up. And because I remember when Reed Pretty was playing with Ricardo, and Ricardo was living in Orlando, so I would sub in and be Reed's Ricardo, and so I would handset, and Reed was like, "Please don't. I can't get used to handsets." It's super different.
Yeah, I think it's also the trajectory because I like it a little bit more sideways.
Yeah.
So because then that allows me to catch it early or catch it later, and when it handsets, it's good we up and down, and I struggle.
Yeah. I think even with two players hand setting, right, both the same type of setting, sometimes the trajectory, the timing, the way the ball flies is different, right? And you get used to your teammate. One of our biggest strengths is that we've been playing together for so long, right? You kind of know exactly how the set is coming. Like when I receive like off the net, I get out to hit, and there's a clear line that I'm going into, and I know Joaquin is going to put it in front of my approach. Right. That makes sense because we know each other so well, right? And when the ball is not there, I know that it's because of the execution was not there, not because he didn't know where to put it. We were not in sync. Exactly. We know exactly where the ball needs to go, right? Every single time. We know where we need to be when we're playing block defense, right? When the ball comes down, we didn't dig or block it. We know whose ball. We don't need to talk. We know exactly what's going on always. Yeah. And I think it's our biggest strength. Yeah, it takes years.
We don't talk much, like tactical in the game. It's more about attitude and staying together. That's the only thing we say. Really.
So you might see us talking a lot during the game, but it's not so much like, oh, you need to block this and you defend this, or give me the ball here. It's more like, come on, stay together. You know, lots of physical, cut towers, keep going, push, yeah. It's to create a psychological conditions to perform more than technical stuff.
Yeah. So I think you guys being brothers, I think you're starting to really harness the strength of that you guys have a connection against your brothers, you're twins. You guys just have a connection that no other team in the world has. But it's also such a delicate balance because you spend so much of your life together, where it's easy. Like we saw the Crabs fight all the time. The Lasigas were famous for fighting all the time. Where brothers don't always work out well as teammates. I feel like you guys, your dynamic has come a long way. And then adding in the extra wrinkle, your dad's your coach. How do you guys manage that? Because it's a delicate balance. And when harnessed properly, you're winning Elite 16 gold medals. You're here. And it could go south pretty quick as well.
I mean, I think a lot of people ask us this, right? And we always kind of say the same thing. It's kind of like, on the court, it's quite good. Yeah, I think it's off the court where it gets a little bit messy, and then that can translate into the road. Not the other way around. So people always think like you take the volleyball home. No, the home is coming to volleyball for us. We go to eat. We fight over where you want to eat. The room not being clean. Our dad being late, and our dad is mad because we're late. Not to a volleyball thing, like just another thing, right? Sure. So those things can trickle into our performance and our kind of beach volleyball side of it. But I think the pure performance side is good. Like if we manage that
in the match, I think in training, I think that's our next step, trying to make it like the match. So like be serious.
In training, we're not as united. I think we do fight each other. We do expect more from each other, like the settings to be better. You didn't eat this day. You missing gymnastics
because we're those frustrations of when we're not playing well, when things are not working out. Now in training, we're training really well now because we have that confidence. But when we've been losing in training, is where it really shows. Like if you ever train with us, but it's still not bad attitude-wise.
Yeah. Sometimes there being a little bit of tension in training between the players and even the coach and the players of like the performance is not good. We need to improve it, and kind of not always feeling all good in training. Sure. That environment can be good. It's healthy. Yeah. Yeah. You're pushing yourself, and you know I missed a shot, and the next one needs to go in training. I know it's just training, but my teammate's gonna shout at me. Not that can be good. It just depends. There's a fine balance, like you said, like to.
Well, that's what is something that we kind of, I don't want to say struggle with at Florida State, but all the girls are such good friends, and they're afraid to kind of push each other and say, hey, like, that's not up to the Florida State standard. And so it's kind of our job as coaches. We're like, hey, we can't. We got 19 of you right now. Like, you guys also got to hold each other accountable. So I think holding each other accountable, when done in a healthy manner, is what you need to do as elite athletes.
Well, most of the time it's also about being able to tape it. Right? You can hold other people accountable, but are you able, if you do a bad set and your teammate lets you know about it, are you able to tape it without creating conflict and letting that drag on? Can it just be you're all right, I'll set better? No. Yeah, because sometimes you need that demand, right? And I get that a lot from Joaquin, right? The way he looks at me when I don't make a dig sometimes is like, looks straight Bruni, right? And I'm like, fine, I have to make the next one, right? For him, you know? He's working hard and
I'm working my ass off.
frustration, right? Exactly, good. And that kind of like the way you make your teammate play better is like you putting maximum effort first, right? And then you demand that from your teammate and you carry him, and then it goes both ways,
Right.
And sometimes in the match, it's you that's playing really well, making all the days, and your teammate is just not quick to get there, and you're pushing him. And another time in the match, it's me that's kind of a bit down and a bit tired, or not staying with it, and Joaquin's pulling me, right? And
Sometimes we forget this. Like before Rio, we had a really bad training where like we got I forgot who we played against, where we got killed, and we had a massive argument. We were like, oh, like we shouldn't play. We should just go home. Like it's just not working out. Seriously. And then we said that like we both need to play well at the same time. It's no use of only one of us is play well.
Yeah.
It needs to be both or nothing. Otherwise, let's just go home.
Part of it is the possibility of the player that's playing really well and has a lot of energy. Fool the other guy. That's difficult to do. And to do it in a way that doesn't create conflict between it, and make it worse, right? That's difficult. And we learned how to do that in a way, like had to push each other without...
But it's a huge fight, like you said, if I'm playing good, can I lift my partner up and let him know that I'm playing for him? Like, he's saying that I want to work hard for Joaquin, like, that means a lot. And I think that gets overlooked in teams who maybe are struggling. Is like, are you working hard for me, or are you just working hard because you want to be great? And how cool is that you had a bad match, had a bad practice before Rio. You don't have to have bad practice. You don't have to iron out that hard conversation before you don't have your best finish in the year, which is so cool.
Miles Partain's theory is Miles, when he has a good practice, he gets worried. He's like, shoot, like this, we can't sustain this. When he has a bad practice, he walks out, he's so stoked. He said, now we got things to get better at.
We have a similar thing with the warm up. Like if the warm up is great, like we're gonna go first point of the game, just hit it out of there.
Yeah, that's why I usually only shoot in the warm up, and then like hit only 1 or 2 balls just to make sure that I've done it a couple of times for physical reasons, like warming up physically. But I don't want to spend 15-20 minutes. A lot of the top teams do it. 15-20 minutes swinging as hard as they can, sharp angles everywhere.
Yep.
And then that kind of makes me feel like in the first 2 points in the match, I'm not going to have it. I don't know why. I have a bit of the same as...
It's the thing. Yeah. But it's funny you said about bad practices. I think one of the worst practices that Trine Came had all year was the day before the Recife qualifier. We lost like 21-7 to Ben O'Day and Brad Fuller. And I was like, oh, boy, this is going to be a quick tease. And then they were lights out in the qualifier the next day because we just like went to the ocean and Try for like 30 minutes just reamed everyone out. And they were like, all right, let's go get some acai. We're full now. And then they had a great tournament. They ended up taking fifth, almost out of Andrew and Arthur in the quarterfinals. So there's something to having a bad practice and a good, much needed, honest conversation, and then you're good.
We had the same thing in Rio. Like I can put on the text messages. My mom would call that, and she was like, "You guys should withdraw. You guys should not play." Like the mentality you have right now is completely wrong. Like, just stop. It's quick.
Worked out.
What happened is when we're playing bad or after bad practice, I'll call my mom and talk shit about Joaquin, and then after he'll call shit about me, and then my mom will kind of mediate between us, right? And my dad as well a little bit, but this psychological side of my mom handles a lot as well, and it's good that we have our family as part of our team because they're able to really get involved with these things, right? Whereas a coach, if there was a much more professional kind of coach that was just beach volleyball, it would be hard for him or her to meddle into the relationships that we have, right? I think that's why it's a strength that we have our family and our mom as well. And even TK sometimes will text me saying, start setting out, man. Like, or pushing us as well.
Yeah. Well, it's great. It's a unique thing that you guys have that you get to tap into, whether it's mom, whether it's dad, for different sorts of support, because guess what? They know you guys best, and you can rely on that. You can use it as an advantage. And I think that what makes you guys special is that you've begun to tap into that over the last year and figured out ways to make that an advantage for you guys, which is like so rad to see. Yeah, awesome.
I think one of the biggest developments that I've seen kind of speaks to everything we've been talking about is your emotional volatility on the court. We're kind of used to be a little highs are high, lows are low. But then when I was watching you against Sweden, it really stood out where, like, it's inevitable that they're going to make a play or two. And you guys never let them go on a big run. It was, okay, they made a sweet play. They did a little jump back set. I'm on bounce was whatever. And then you come out and you just hit like a perfect little chop into the angle. And now you've reset again. I think your variety on offense, I was so wowed by that. Because, like, it used to be, like, not vanilla, but you'd have, like, all the standard shots, right? But now you have all those shots, but with different speeds and different locations. Yeah, it's been fun to watch. And it stood out against Sweden.
I think, something that I've developed, and him as well. Sometimes you want to look for an elegant solution where you just want to look at the court and then the easy shot is there, or a hard angle where you just beat the defender through power. But sometimes against the top teams, that's not available. Sometimes you have to do something that is not like it's not a hard line, or it's kind of like a mix of something, or going high off the hands. And you need to have that variety. You need to be able to score in many different ways, because if you only have your hard angle and your high line, like at some point Helga's going to jump in the eye, you're going to get it, you know?
Right.
And that goes back to why we cover so much, because we're hitting these weird shots that they're not going straight down.
Right.
It's going, so gives us a chance to come.
Yeah, and I think there's also an element of making the decision, and my decision making late. So I've kind of learned not to have a preconceived idea when I'm receiving, like thinking about what I'm going to do in that side out, especially late in the game. You don't want to do that. I kind of did that a little bit at the end, which is kind of why we lost. But you want to kind of, like, in my view, when I'm receiving, I'm thinking about doing a good reception first and nothing else. And then after I've done my receipt, I'm thinking about getting out the hit, getting a good approach, and then jumping as high as I can, getting into a position where I can have as many options open as possible. And then, only then, with my vision, with my intuition of where the ball's coming from, where I think they might be, and the combinations of those things, maybe the call from my partner as well, then you make a decision late. And the later you make a decision, I think the more likely it is that it's the right decision.
I think that's why we've I was gonna say we've
Don't worry. Yeah, we've been doing this podcast. We tried for 7 years. Train of thought derails frequently.
I gave a long answer. You lost it, man. I was doing so much.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say it's why we said after we won in Rio that we have the dynamic different. We're not better or worse, because all that is just thinking about it, it's just
Right.
It's there, and things just worked out. We weren't doing anything different. Things just clicked.
It was
just us.
Yes.
That's why
We had a big focus, I think, on serving and on reception, right? That first touch, first contact, whether receiving or serving, more than just like visualizing the entire play. I think, like I said, start with the basics, start with the reception or the serve, and then from there, right, make decisions and rally late. Especially with players at the top level like Helga or Mol. They're doing the really late moves as well, right? And they're trying to read you. Yeah. So if you don't know where you're going to hit, and we say that in a physical, like, you don't know where you're going to hit and you end up hitting wherever. But I'm thinking, like, even if you know you might hit a line, like, just always have everything available, right? And then make the choice, I think is really important.
And just making it look the same until the last second. And making a shot look the same as your angle swing or whatever it may be. Because then, like you said, if you don't know exactly where you're going, neither do they. Right.
See it from a lot from Perisic, from Bikola.
Yeah,
these defenders, I really like them because of that. They play in a very, like, mental way. Like, they go up to hit and then they make a decision. And their decision making is what defines their side out. And then, again, more than their physical, right, or crazy jump set or stuff like that. It's just decision making. It's be smart, playing smart.
Yeah. I loved, we did this docu-series crew was going around and filming a bunch of stuff, and they did an interview with Ahmed and Sharif asking what makes the Czech guys so good, and Ahmed was cracking me up. He's like, they're like thieves in the night. You go to bed and your house is all furnished, and then they just come in and you wake up, all your stuff is gone. Just little chess masters, they're sneaky. He's like, Perisic is just so smart. I was cracking up. It's like you said, like, you watch the Czech guys play, and they have to be the least Instagrammable team in the world, right? It is just like a super vanilla. It's a great pass. Schweiner's going to run in and take his little antenna high set and then just chop around. I start calling him the lumberjack because he just chops at the angle, chops down the line, chops here, and then Perisic is just like, and perfect angle. Like, everything is just perfectly boring.
Yeah.
And I think boring is a really big compliment in sports all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's boring. It can be boring when you look at it from, like, they're not full swinging at the ball, correct, making a lot of highlight plays, right? But for us, volleyball players, and I think volleyball high fans. Like we appreciate like the quality of that they're playing, how smart they play, like how they make the right decision every time it feels right. He also unblocked defense. Sweet. Parasite is really smart. Very good at reading the game. Very good at making the attacker think that he's one place and then poaching like defense. He makes a lot of days just of that. Whereas, for example, I think classically good defenders like Brazilian, like Guto or players like that, they're more of like athletic defenders. They'll hold on a cross court and then go chase down every single ball, and like, out of sheer athleticism and will, they'll make loads of digs. Yeah, Perisic will make loads of digs by just being really smart and reading the game, and he won't even get him started.
So easy. It's like, why do they keep hitting it right to him? It's like, well, he's putting himself in the right spot at the right time. Like, he's so smart.
He mostly looked bad, so
yeah. And then he's such a nice guy. He humiliates you, and then he's like, good match.
Hey, good playing. Come again next time.
One thing I'm super curious with you guys is, what is your training like in England? I mean, you mentioned it's not warm there right now, and there isn't an abundance of talent to train with. The only other team on the World Tour, kind of Freddie and Issa, but they took most of the year off. I'm curious how you train.
Well, we train as much as we can. Most of the year we're doing 6 days a week. It's just that during the winter, because we were studying, it was really cold, and we were having to like chip the ice with the rake and wear a lot of neoprene stuff, and it's not ideal, right? But we still did it, and we've done a lot of hard winters, and I think that's at least made us mentally strong. But from this year onwards, we want to spend more time abroad in Spain, like the other top teams do, and improve our winter training. But in the summer, it's pretty good. London's a good place to travel from as well for competitions, because of the airports and everything. And with our little brother improving a lot, it's helping a lot, because it's on Freddie on the other side of London, and he has their own thing going on, and so we train with our dad and our little brother and his teammate, and we're hopefully going to be improving.
Hopefully we get so good blocking. Otherwise, when that brings out the boards, it's actually way better than Andy's Mole. It's way better.
Well, he goes way better. He goes overboard with it, like
Yeah, he puts it as high as he can. Like playing a line shot over Anders is way easier than the board.
That's so high and so far into the court that if you set a normal set, like fairly close to the net, you can't even angle it like, around the block, because he's that far. He's really pushing it, right? And he says that we need to get used to that, and in a way, it's quite good to have that suffocating block all the time, and to sometimes not even have an option to hit down to the court, and you have to go off the hands.
I always say, I think it's more of a mental training than actual training, because you can't. We've never been able to do like more than 3 sides out in a row against that board. Like it's more about like, oh, you get blocked and just try not to get blocked again.
Sometimes we'll do a match where we do us against my little brother and maybe in Malaga our cousin who's also a defender. So they'll have 2 defenders and my dad blocking, right? So my dad will block and then get out of the way, okay, right? And we'll choose to serve. We'll always choose to serve, because actually you can't side out. We're against 2 defenders, and so we'll choose to serve, and it's a really interesting way of training, because also really you can't shoot right either, because you have 2 defenders, right? So it's a very super difficult side out, right? And it makes you really precise in your construction, right? Because it has to be perfect to be able to even have an option. Right. And then you have to scrape side outs away in very difficult situations, like there's the defenders on both sides and the block is bigger. Like it's ridiculously beyond what you could find. But in a way, that's kind of what you want to train, right? Why do you train for an hour and a half, 2 hours when the match is only maximum 1 hour? Because you want to push everything, right? Why do you increase the intensity a little bit more than the match always, right? And that's part of it as well. Difficulty needs to be a little bit more difficult than the match, right? Yeah. Sometimes as well we'll train on a slightly higher net, like we'll make sure that the net is sort of high. It's always 243 or 245. It's never going to be 241, right?
Yeah. I remember playing against you guys in Bulgaria. You're like, net's low. It's like, bullshit, the net's low.
It's always low, man. That was it. Well, we also learned that from the Spanish guys, Herrera and Javier. They always also, net needs to be the right height, man. Like when you're training. And then in the mat sometimes it'll be a little bit lower, and that's fine. You just have a sharper angle. It's not.
You can always adjust to a lower net. It's still harder to adjust to a higher net.
Yeah. Of course, you don't want it too high to the point that you cannot execute the things that you would on a normal net. But we always try to have the difficulty a little bit higher, especially when we don't have great teams to train with. Yeah. Right. We try and create the blocking board. Or my dad, he gets on a box that's ridiculously high, and he serves he puts the box a meter in the court for serving. Right. Yeah, so it's like Evander. It is like Evander, a little bit more, right? And then when we receive Evander and serve, it's like, okay, we know it's fast, but we know that's like,
yeah. You guys, speaking of Evander, man, you guys have had some big wins. I mean, you beat Anders. You didn't beat Sweden, but you proved that you are more than capable. You're capable enough of beating Sweden. You beat Brouwer and Newson, when they were still, I think, at the top of their game, what, like, obviously beating Anders and Christian probably the most momentous, but I'm curious with Rio, what was the more exhilarating moment? Because I think qualifying, there's no feeling like it. I've never beat Anders and Christian. I would assume there's no feeling like it. And then winning an Elite. I mean, what, it's like high after high after high in that tournament.
I mean, I can tell you in terms of like how high my heart rate was beating. Definitely the qualifier. Then let's say the final against Hansen Christian. In the final, once you're there, like it's okay to come second. Like the job was done. Like so many of those points in the when we were set point down and match point down. Like I had to cover them. I was just like, oh, I'm sure swing at it. Like if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Like I don't know, we were playing really.
It definitely got less and less. There was
way less pressure.
Because for us, it was an achievement to make main door. Then it was an achievement to get out in full. Right when we first made quarterfinal for the first time ever, it was like, wow,
that's the highest result ever.
Yeah, exactly. So every time we were like, we don't need this win anymore. We just won it, and we won it more than then, which is something that we always say a lot. And my dad's always saying the final thing when he sends me a long message of what we need to do in a match, and we need to want it more than that. Always. Like that. And he's always instilled that in us, and sometimes like you just need to feel hungry.
You're good. There's no editing out here.
And you have to want it really bad, like, and it needs to show in the match. And yesterday we were really upset because we lost the game against Innsbruck and Bello where they wanted it more. And you could just see it, like their intensity was higher. You could see in the warm up the way they started the match in 5th gear, and we were still in 2nd. Like
yeah.
And we felt bad about that because that's part of, again, our identity and how we feel we play best. So.
I mean, you talk about in that final match, like what I hear you saying is you surrendered to what was going to happen. And so I guess, and that's so important, I think, for younger players to hear that. And I guess the challenge is, how can you bring that same mindset into other matches, right? Into all of our matches. So like,
I'm still trying to figure that out. I don't have the answer to that.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be difficult because sometimes you're just not playing well, the other team playing really well. So it's not just a case of, like, you can't just will it into existence, right? You can't just play well just because you want it more. But you have to start with the effort and the intensity and wanting it. And then from there, of course, you need to be focused. You need to do the right things. But I think it's easier when we are in a semi-final against Sorum. We tend to play much better when we're in that main draw and playing teams that are on paper better than us, right? That's to really elevate our game, and we have no fear of those top teams. And that's why that win was so special as well. Like, we didn't need it, but we wanted it a lot.
Yeah.
And it was hard to control. Even myself, I was hard to control my emotions when we were leading in the 3rd set, and they were crawling back. And I was really, I was scared. I was tense.
We already do that as a third set.
Yeah, we worked so hard to kind of put ourselves in a position where we just have to set up 2 balls. Right, we're leading by 3, but it's so difficult to close it out against someone like Mo. And then when we did it, it was just the emotion is crazy. Because he grew up watching not just Mo Sorum, but even people before then, right? Playing beach volleyball. Like, I used to watch YouTube, ADP, highlights like, or Castrai, and even kind of around when we were little.
Even Mo Sorum, like I used to watch all the games back when they posted them on YouTube. I watched every single game
Of Mo Sorum?
Mo Sorum, yeah. So like, I at any point I know exactly what they're gonna do. Obviously, I can't stop them, but I know in no way should I hear. I haven't read it.
Yeah. So I'm also getting fans of the sport. We've been students, and we continue to be like students of it as well. And so that's why it means so much to us. Like we love beach volleyball. We've been watching it since we were little, and to even be playing against them was already like crazy. To be warming up on court 2 to get into the stadium against Sorum, and we didn't have our coach with us, so their coach was serving us as well, and just sharing the warm up court with them. And like I'll do one, and Sorum will do one. Okay, I'll do one, and training like. Warming up in that way with them, and then we actually had training with them before Rio as well.
Oh yeah, that's.
We also trained with Arman Helbig and Jobso, and even just being in the same court with them, being able to interact with them, like even here on the bars.
Yeah.
Like for us, we still have a bit of an imposter syndrome, right? Because well, it's happened fast. We would be, right here. So
I think it's been quite a steady progression.
Yeah.
I think, I would say it's been slow. Like I think we've improved each year.
Yes. Yeah, I think people look at Rio and say, "Oh, it just happened now." But like, if you look at the last 4 years, every single year it was taking a step. We were like futures, We got a couple of medals and features, and the next year we got a couple of medals and features. Then we made medal and challenges, right? Then this year, in the elites we didn't do that well, but in the challenges we're always a competitive team, right? So we got 2 medals and challenges again this year, and then the elite. Like every year we feel like we're improving, and it's been quite a steady growth, not just the one result in Rio, which obviously meant so much to change our season, right? But in terms of like how we feel, it feels steady still.
Yeah. I think that's such an important view from your guys' end, because I think from the outside, it's sort of like the new popular saying is like slowly and then all at once. Because I think people who've been loosely following have probably been like, yeah, the Bays, like they did really well under Cife and a couple challenges here and there, but elites, and then he just like popped up to some people out of nowhere. But people who've been following have been like, yeah, like, I mean, they've been knocking on the door. You knock long enough, someone's going to answer.
It goes very up and down, and people only see those ups that we've right. But we've had some downs this year. We lost how many Elite 16 qualifiers have we lost? Like 5, 6?
Second round qualifier.
We lost we lost in like national pros in Latvia. We lost so many things. The downs were down. We also up.
But very few teams are winning most of the tournaments they're playing, right? Sweden and Norway are a bit of an exception, but most teams, beach volleyball team, the way beach volleyball is ups and downs, long seasons, lots of tournaments, and you can't put all your focus into that one event. Of course, if you have an Olympics or World Championships, you want to perform really well there. But I think you have to understand that the season has its times, and its flows. And some tournaments you just play better, you just feel physically better, you have a physical peak. You feel better with the teammate, you feel like, and you just have better performances when you least expect it sometimes. We did not expect that it would be Rio. We hoped and wished that would have been in the Olympic qualifying theory, because a result like that would have put us right there.
Yeah.
It came when it came, and it's going to be that way. I think you have to accept that as a beach volleyball player, right? The sport is very volatile, it's very open. So many teams are competitive now. Can lose to anyone, win against anyone. Like yesterday, we beat Evandro really well, and then we got smashed by Immers of Van der Velde. And it was on the same day. Even in the same day, you can't control when you're going to...
Look at the same match. Immers Van der Velde win 22-20, and they lose by a score I have never seen in my life. 21-4. No one got hurt. It was just a totally different team. Like every season sort of has its seasons, and even every match and every day has its own little mini season within it. I couldn't believe what I was watching.
Right. Yeah. But I really believe that. Honestly, like every day, it's like especially in things like the surf.
Yeah.
It's a new day. It's a different day. Like I need to learn how to surf again. Like, you need to learn. I was working yesterday. Might not work today.
Yeah. So some days it's like you're serving really well and everything's working. So that day your tactic is, we're going to push the serve and try and make some damage. Some days you're missing everything. And you're like, okay, we just have to put the set in, or adjust your tactic, adjust the way you're playing, right? Or I'm not feeling physically great. Let's get a lower set close to the net. And then you have to make those adjustments day to day, even within the same match, right? After you lose a set. Like against Sweden in the second set, I was getting dug a lot by Armin, and we lost that set. And I said, okay, we're going to take on the blocker, right? We have to make an adjustment, right? Because something is not working, and that ability to adapt and not be too stubborn, right? Within the same match, but also I was like day to day. Like I don't know today how I'm going to feel on the service line, but I'm hoping it's going to be good. But if it's not, what am I going to do to be able to win the match, right? And that's something you talk a lot as well about. So.
I don't know if that's how Anders and Christian and Aman Hovig, that's how they feel, but that's definitely how we feel. Like we're not at the level where we're so much better than everyone else. We know we're going to win. We need to play our best, and we need to figure it out that day what we need to do.
I think that's why I've loved being a golfer growing up, because it's the same thing. Like you're like, all right, sweet, got the driver figured out. Take it out on number 6. It's not figured out anymore. Something's wrong, but then you have 12 holes left, and you're out there, and you got to play. So it's like same thing you guys, like I said, like when your best isn't available, and you find a way to win, like you did in Rio, like you just figure it out as you go, even when not everything's available on any given day.
I mean, sometimes it's also like within the same match, and I learned that from other sports as well. So, for example, in the NBA Finals where Kobe couldn't score, right, and then he just started grabbing rebounds, right? Or in tennis when Nadal had an ab injury, you watched him live in Wimbledon one year. He had an ab injury up there and couldn't serve. His serve speed was like 7.5, with the opponent was like 120, right? So he was serving like with spinning to the sideline and like having to change and rely on other areas of his game. Sometimes we think about that too. Like sometimes I'm not chasing down any shots. Like the shot's still really far and quick, and I can't get them. Okay, then I'm gonna, like yesterday with Evandro. Then I'm gonna sit on this hard ball, and I'm gonna do something there, right? Or I'm gonna cover, or I'm gonna push the serve. Like I'm not making any days, right? Then I have to push. I have to look for solutions and points of focus when something's not working or you don't feel good in a particular skill.
I think the most simple one is, I'm not siding out. Well, let's get a block here. We do that. Otherwise, we're going right back.
Yeah. You guys have a lot of tools available. I love that. Where it's like, all right, this isn't working. Let's do something else.
Well, sometimes I'm like, to side out this one, like we missed 2 side outs in a row. Our side out's not working. We're feeling uncomfortable. And I tell our team to side out this ball for me. And then I'm gonna push the serve. Like, just give me one side out and let's go and focus on the other thing, right? Because that change of focus into something that's working gives you confidence and maybe improves later on what. So
it looks like from the outside, but when you're in the game, it's very scrambly and not organized at all. Trying to figure out each play and that.
I mean, people watch beach volleyball on the screen or even live, like they think that the players are very much in control.
Yeah.
But I think even at the top team, the top level, a lot of players are not in control, and they look and they try to make it look like they are. But there's a lot of that they're not controlling, and a lot that's not. They don't know what's going to happen, right?
And I think that's a good skill. I think, you guys ever watch The Replacements football movie?
No.
Kyle, you watched The Replacements? But the way that Gene Hackman described Shane Falco is like, you're like a lake where it looked really calm on the surface, but underneath, all those feeder fish are going a million miles an hour. And I think to not show your opponent that not everything's under control, I think that's really important. Because you look at Anders and Kirsten, and you can take a snapshot of them down 10 and a snapshot of them up 10, and you wouldn't be able to pick out which picture's which. And I think that's a really important skill in sports, because if an opponent shows any signs of weakness or frustration or emotional volatility, I mean, they're digging into it and they're utilizing that. And I think the fact that you go like, you don't know that not everything's under control, I think that's a sign of maturity and growth as an athlete.
Dad will always say, like, the body language and everything, like, it can't look like you're losing. Like, sometimes people get really upset because we're winning up 2, up 3, and our body language is like we're losing, right? He has this idea of like winning and losing language and behavior, right? That has nothing to do with how you play, right? It's just how you conduct yourself, how you look, right? And that's important as well. That's why we've been working on that a lot as well. Like, even when we're winning or losing, doesn't matter. Like, we need to look like we're winning. Yeah, it needs to always look like we're winning.
It's always like we score a point, even if it's in like a Spanish national, to like see where we're expected to win, and we
Score straight to serve.
It's like celebrate. Hard to celebrate. Where's it hard?
I'm trying to celebrate super perfect because we're always winning, even if the score is the first point of the set. Yeah, and yeah, of course, sometimes you get an ace, and you're like, okay, let me just go serve again. No, celebrate. We're winning. We're always winning, right? But for me, it's important now.
When you're looking at recruiting videos, you're looking at that. You're looking at body language. Is this person acting when they're up or when they're down? You know, and so it's so important because you feel that as a partner. You feel if you're dropping or not.
And not everybody is the same. Like, for some people, it might be like celebrating every time. Some people sometimes are very like Sorum is very ice cold, right? But he's the same ice cold winning and losing. Does that make sense? If you see a change when things are not going well, or you see frustration, or you see when they're losing that the behavior is different, that's a sign that maybe they're not as mature or as comfortable in the game, or you got time to attack. Yeah, cut the earth. That's it. Well, what does that say as well? The shark can smell the blood in your water, right? And I believe that. I think your body language, and that's something we work with him a lot because he's such a great player, right? Sometimes his body language is not that great, right?
We're still working on it.
Yeah. And when it is, it's he's very difficult to beat. Sorry.
Very difficult. Proven.
You guys play 5 o'clock?
Yeah.
Another crack in Norway?
We have to win to go through.
We're gonna go home.
And I think they're kind of in the same spot.
No, they've already got 2 wins. But it would be, if we win, it'll be a triple.
Triple period. It'll go down to points and whatever else, and really
We'll just win and see what happens. It doesn't matter that it's then, and you just have to win. It just happens to be more so in our way today. But
Well, you're actually.
yeah,
I mean,
that's true as well.
I have to deal with you guys.
For sure. And they're going to come out firing because we beat them last time. So
And I think we play better against teams that are better than us. But we have no pressure. Like, yesterday against MS Vanderdal, that was an important game which we had to win, and we crumbled. But today it doesn't matter. So
I think for us in the our best Beach Pro Tour finals, like, it's a reward for the work that we've done in the season. If we can win if we can get some money, if we can, that trophy looks amazing. I don't know if you've seen it. It's
Seen it.
big, and I think my dad would want to put it somewhere. We like trophies a lot. We like a trophy. That's why we play. It was curating our real Vizuki. He's just very fond of creating a little museum or a little something to, it's the legacy and our family, because our family plays volleyball. It's a volleyball family, and then hopefully we'll continue that. And so we want to get that little trophy for him, and it would be nice. But if we don't, at least we want to put on a good performance. We want to show that we belong here, that we can compete, and that we're here to stay. But for us, that's good enough.
Yeah.
And I think our standard will keep increasing, right? If we continue to play at a high level, then another time that we speak with you guys, I'll be like, no, we have to win. Right now, it feels like if you win, it's great. Again, we don't need it, but we want it really bad.
It's good to be underdogs.
Yeah.
Because you guys know that you want this more than Anders and Christian do. Because for them, it's they're playing defense. Like, they're supposed to win virtually every match they play unless it's Sweden. And then it's just a coin flip. Like, no one's supposed to win. The fans win now, as we saw last night. So you guys, you wanted more. And I love that mindset. I don't want to take too much more of your time because I know that you guys like to get a full 2-hour practice, an hour lift, and then you go play. But I appreciate you taking the time. It's been a blast watching you guys from the one-star qualifier days in Bulgaria to the Beach Pro Tour finals. It's been.
You haven't mentioned that he beat us
Well, you got
in that one.
we were waiting for that. You guys retired me.
What if Bumble? I'll bring it up for it. Travis beat us.
Well, matchup, you, especially against Bean, you really, really well. I prefer to play against Anders. Honestly, you should see it. Yeah, he's good.
Well, you feel more comfortable against Anders today than he did against you a couple years ago at your dairy.
That's what we were in Cape Town.
Yeah. Cape Town, that was the last international match I played, and I think about it frequently. A 13-8 lead in the thirds.
And we girls watching that one.
Well, we were 7-year game, and then we went 13-8 down. We were like, well, let's just 13-8. Let's just go on the other guy, right? We went on Cody, and we got 5 breaks, like each 5 breaks in a row already. So
Cody's still, every time I see him, I talked to him in India, and he called me because he was like jet lagged. He's like, bro, it's 3 a.m. I just want to apologize for Cape Town.
it's so long ago. He's hearing it. Yeah. Pullman.
Yeah. But so that was my last international match. So you guys retired me. Went out to a pretty good team. Appreciate that. Yeah. Appreciate you, boys. Good luck. Thank you. My trophy home for Papa. Yeah.
Shoes.